Hello, fellow Wallies. My name is Simon Hacker. With the immense amount of attention surrounding the upcoming presidential election, it would be understandable if many of you are struggling to keep up with the other important races going on in the country. Today, I'm going to fill you in on one of those elections. The race between Jon Ossoff and David Perdue for one of Georgia's 2 Senate seats is currently one of the closest in the country. As we've seen with the recent appointment of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court, every seat in the Senate can have a dramatic impact on the lives of Americans all across the country. In this video, I will provide background information for both candidates, explain how this race came to be so close, and discuss current trends in pre-election polling, before finally giving my prediction on the outcome of the election. David Perdue was a wealthy businessman before taking office in 2014. In his first campaign, Perdue focused primarily on decreasing federal spending and eliminating national debt. Today, Perdue's campaign website says that he is an early supporter of President Trump and continues to be one of the president's closest allies in the Senate. Since taking office, Perdue has voted with the president 95% of the time. His campaign is currently focusing on pushing a strong law and order message and has claimed multiple times that his opponent seeks to defund the police. On the other hand, Jon Ossoff is a political newcomer with a background in journalism and business. His campaign is primarily focused on issues of healthcare, climate change, and student debt. Now I'll give you a little bit of background about why this race has come to be so close. For much of its history, Georgia was a reliably Democratic state because of the party's history of support for segregation and other racist policy. However, in the early 1990s, many rural white Georgians moved away from the increasingly racially progressive Democratic Party towards the beginning of the Republican Party we're familiar with today. This shift came to a head in the 2002 election season, where challenger Republican Sonny Perdue defeated incumbent Democrat Roy Barnes, and Republican Saxby Chambliss defeated Democrat incumbent Max Cleveland. Until very recently, Republicans have maintained their stronghold in the state. However, in 2018, Democrat gubernatorial challenger Stacey Abrams nearly pulled off one of the greatest political upsets in modern history by running a progressive, policy-driven campaign aimed at historically disenfranchised communities instead of the usual party platform of reaching out to moderate registered voters. Abrams was able to spot and take advantage of the state's shifting demographics. The urban population of Georgia has grown faster than the overpopulation in recent years, so the state has become a battleground between its 5 liberal-leaning metropolitan areas and the more conservative-leaning rural areas. Since Abrams lost in 2018, over 700,000 new voters who are largely younger and more diverse than the rest of the population have registered to vote. So how's the race been going so far? For much of the campaign, David Perdue was considered to be a considerable favorite. Polls conducted over the summer show that Perdue did enjoy a considerable lead. However, recent polls show a late surge for Ossoff. 8 out of the 11 polls conducted in the week before the production of this video show Ossoff ahead of Perdue in the election by at least a narrow margin. 3 of these polls reported that Ossoff's lead was greater than the margin of error, while none reported the same for Perdue. This means that at least 3 highly rated polls can say with an extremely high degree of certainty that Ossoff will win the race. One poll released by Citizen Data on October 28th found that Ossoff was ahead by 7 percentage points. This leads me to my prediction. I predict that Jon Ossoff will defeat David Perdue. Trends in polling show that Ossoff is maintaining his upward trajectory and is increasing his margin of victory. There's also no recent data to indicate with any certainty that Perdue is ahead in the race. Demographic changes and increased voter registration will benefit Ossoff's policy-driven progressive campaign around healthcare and education reform. And coronaviruses continue to increase, as well as national polls that indicate that Joe Biden is currently enjoying a lead over Donald Trump, which leads me to believe that Perdue's close association with the president will continue to hurt his campaign as cases rise. I hope that this video has provided you with new information about a race that you may not have already been familiar with, and I encourage you to keep an eye on this race on Election Day, even if it's just to prove me wrong. Thanks for watching.